Hi, welcome to another of our livecast sessions. Today, we want to look at the vexed issue of relationships. Relationships matter. Uh, I don't know. If you are like me, then when I am connected and interacting, it's wonderful. I'm fully engaged. My challenge is you get caught up in other things and you don't make the connections, that effort to remember, to connect, remember, to reach out. That's the heart of the problem in one area of what we want to look at today. You know, so I remember a couple of years ago, a few years ago, I had one of the Bend and Burchard year planners, and one area in that planner was that on every day you had to identify somebody or a number of people to connect, reconnect. So the connect is there. And I've, taken it forward, where each day I try to say, all right, who have I not been in touch with? How can I do it? Yeah, so it sounds as if I'm bringing systems into relationships, something that should come naturally. But sometimes we have to plan. Sometimes we have to use systems where our natural behavior doesn't align with the outcomes that we want. So yes, I still have um, a sort of daily a view as to what I want to achieve, who I want to be today, and what it is that I want to do, and who it is that I want to connect with. And I remember um, one of the connections that I made. It was a colleague from work decades ago, and believe you me, the response was overwhelming. It was so touching to reconnect and to you know. Um, go back through some of those experiences. So that's sort of what we want to look at as we spend these few minutes. As usual, I don't like to keep it too long, so we should be done in 30, 35 minutes. So I've gone ahead of myself and shared some of the insights already. But the context is that whether we like it or not, we are going to be involved in relationships. Relationships are going to be a part of our lives. Um, and some of them are potentially excellent, wonderful. Some of them are not so nice, but they still exist. And when we look at it, then relationships are important. And so, as we plan and do all sorts of other gymnastics at the start of a year, resolutions and plans and all sorts of activities in that direction, I'm suggesting that we should look at relationships in the same light. So we want to lay the context down. We want to look at three areas with respect to relationships. One of them is reconnecting. The other one is reframing the relationship. This is an interesting one. And then, of course, we want to rekindle some of them. By the way, this is a live cast. You can't actually speak to me or get on camera, but you can type in the chat a comment, ask a question. And I have a colleague on who will prompt me to say, hey, you know, um, someone wants to share a thought or to question something that you said. Having said that, let's move on. So the context is that unless you're not like me, then there is a relationship, at least one important relationship that could benefit from some strengthening this year. Yes. I, I I'm thinking, again, going ahead of maybe where you are today is largely as a result of maybe some inspiration, some tutor, maybe, that years ago said something or did something or helped you with challenges that you had that really and truly have contributed to where you are today. That person might still be alive. How wonderful it would be to hear from you. Yeah. So those are some of the things I'm getting in my head. But so are there relationships in your life that could do in strengthening? Um, is there something that we could restore, reframe, if you want to call it repair? And of course, we talked about the rekindling already. What about the associates? It could be a neighbor, it could be a family member, it could be a colleague. That somehow it doesn't work. You know, there is a constant conflict, and you really just feel awkward in the relationship. Maybe you try to even avoid it. What about that? That's something that we could address as well. So, what I'm saying basically is that relationships present a challenge. And in many instances, they can always do with some burnishing, some improvement, right? I don't know anybody who has a relationship that is exactly 100% perfect and is in no need of improvement. So the first of the fixes this year is the reconnection. Let us reconnect in 2023. Let us reconnect. Yeah. So sometimes we experience these prompts, oh my gosh, I'm dry. I should give so and so a call. I wish I should reach out, even simple a WhatsApp message or whatever message you use, or an email. Or, I got, oh my gosh, I had a connection on LinkedIn. And an individual actually sent me a handwritten card. Oh my gosh. Lynn, that's special. Very, very special. That is something that takes time, but it makes a huge difference. So what we're saying is, let's reach out. Let's reach out this year. Just think through areas, connections that you had that have just have not been used. You have not made any connection. You haven't spoken to the individual for a long time. It could be school friends. It could be, sometimes we have very close friends, but our career paths move us in different directions or whatever. We just find other things to do. And so we have lost that connection. Let us go back. This is the suggestion. And see how we can reconnect with persons who have brought us joy and we have experiences that we enjoy together. It will make a difference. This thing, by the way, has implications for stress relief and for the network. The neuroscience and the medical science indicate that people who have a strong network of friends, supporting network, do much better in all areas of their lives. So if you're looking at resilience, strengthening your network is a task for this year. As if you want to look at it from a business point of view, there are also connections that you had, prospects, maybe even customers who have just not done any business with you. Again, we can go back, look at our records, and to see what is it that we can do to reconnect and to reevaluate, resuscitate even those opportunities. And of course, I can't leave it without saying we need also, I don't know where you are, maybe you are fully connected, but I think it's important for us to be connected to our spiritual roots. If this is an area of neglect, then this is the time now to look at that reconnection. So that's the reconnect piece of number one of what it is we want to look at. The reframing is more challenging. And I'm using reframe as against repair. But it's the same idea. The same idea is that we have these challenging relationships. Maybe something, a neighbor, you had a little run in with them and kind of keep yourself away from them, or a colleague, or maybe you have a supervisor, a manager that you report to, a leader, and you really don't see eye to eye. And maybe they have a vision of who you are and what is your contribution that is not aligned with your view as to what it is that you're bringing to the table. Those are some of the things that we have to look at. So what kind of relationships do you have along the line that are not really ideal? If you really sit and think about it, you will be better off and feel more comfortable if those relationships could be reframed. And I'm saying reframe. Let me tell you why I'm saying reframe. I'm going to actually give you a little checklist on the next slide as to how the reframing process could go about. But reframe can also indicate that this is a mindset issue. This is something that we can work at in our minds. We can see things from a different perspective. And it is all dependent then on how we come to the process. And so some simple things like in terms of our mood, if our mood is being affected, etc. Sometimes we anticipate, and so when we see the person coming, or we, get a call, we set up our minds and say, "Oh no!" So let's do some of the physiological things, which would be, for example, pick up the phone with a smile, right? Or as you see the person coming, smile instead of frown or deadpan. Also, have a mind that this is going to be good. This is going to work out nice. Here is a change today, contrary to previous experiences today. It's going to be great. Yeah. As against, oh my gosh, here we go again. So let's make sure that we do that. All right. And also, it's important that we manage our relationships as against sorry, hands getting in the way. Manage our emotions as against having them control us. Yes, we are in charge. And so we need to make sure that we control our relationships. Emotions as against having them, just running along with whatever comes to mind, how we feel. We can't allow our feelings to dictate our behavior. All right? And please don't let us be a mirror. Don't mirror their actions. You be the adult in the process and behave in the way that would lead to a healthier relationship. All right? So this is for your benefit. When we manage our moods, we are going to be happier. We are going to have the joy that comes from it. So whatever it is that we're talking about here, bear in mind that it is in our interest to have healthy relationships. All right? Just imagine, just sit and, imagine yourself under a coconut tree where this threat no longer exists, that we have resolved this and we can now move forward without having these issues arise every now and then. So how can we reframe? Let's get to some nuts and bolts. I have a 7-point plan. So the first thing to do is to reflect on what specifically. Sometimes we just say, boy, John rubs me the wrong way. I don't like so and so. But what is it? What is it? Be objective and honest. Yeah. We don't want to get up into biases, where it is the gender or the race or the age or those factors. It shouldn't be those things. Right? So look at it. What behavior, what action, what is it about this individual that you don't like, that upsets you? Yeah. And having identified the issue, is this a recurring theme? Is this something that happens on a regular basis? Is there a trend? That's where you want to go. And then if there is, or if you can find instances The next step would be to look at what preceded, what happened, what were the conditions that led to this instance, this situation taking place. And is there some kind of commonality? Were the circumstances similar across instances? And number 5, most of us sometimes want to strike that out. Me? I'm open. No. And I'm not the one at fault. No. I'm open. I would love to have a good relate. Yeah, that kind of talk. But anyway, please just reflect. Is there anything that I could have done to avoid any one of the situations? Yeah. What if, going to some what ifs, what if I had, or what if I did not? Just so I'm not blaming you. I'm not saying that you must take responsibility. I'm only saying, could there be? Is there something that could have been done to avoid this? That's a question. All right. So you couldn't avoid it then, okay, but could you have responded differently? Is there some way that you could have dealt with the situation that would have produced less tension, less conflict? That's a question. Or is there some way that you could have left the situation without internalizing it, without allowing it to affect your mood? Yes. So here's the encounter, but I am not going to internalize it. I'm not going to let it steal my joy. Yes. So the individual has done this. It's potentially upsetting, but I'm going to look past it. I'm going to distract myself if I need to, but I'm definitely not going to ruminate on this, and I'm not going to let it impact my mood. So for the rest of the day, I'm going to be fine. I'm not going to let this person steal my day. Those are questions that we can have. That's the sort of reframing process where if you can't, and you may not be able to control the individual. So if you can't control their behavior, you can definitely control your response. And so my thing would be, how can I get myself to a place where I'm not going to let that happen? I'm not going to let that impact me. So let's bring it closer home, because maybe this is somebody close to you. It could be your spouse, could be your boss, could be a colleague that sits close to you, etc. That does this thing that sets you off. You know, you know it's gonna come, and everything. I wish I didn't do this. What if you could get yourself to a place where, when it happens, you are saying, "Okay, fine, I see you, but guess what? I'm not playing that game anymore. I'm in another space. I'm just not going to let this bother me anymore." Yeah. I'm just, as a matter of fact, I'm not even going to seriously file it as something that has happened. Yeah. So that will take some discipline. It's not going to happen the first time, but you can distract yourself. You can find things that you can do to say, okay, fine, see it there again. Here it comes. And, be laughing, be smiling. Find some other way to deal with it as against letting it steal your mood. That's important. And I can promise you, if we reframe more of our relationships, the life will be so much happier. We're going to enjoy ourselves more. We're going to be more productive. And our health will improve, because mental health impacts physical health. So my thing would be, let's work to develop mental muscles to be able to nullify any negative impact. So that these things do not control you, do not control your mood. Important for us to take charge of our lives so that potentially negative things no longer control us. We cannot move past it. All right. Of course, then the rekindling, which is the third um, fix that we can deal with. So we have looked at the whole idea of reconnecting, and not just friends. Think about people who have impacted you in the past. It could be some family friend who is now lonely or alone, and they would welcome your. So there's a wealth of positive experiences. There's a wealth of possibilities in terms of building your network from reconnection. There's also great value in reframing, if you want to call it repairing relationships, or being in a position to respond differently to um, relationships that you might have called toxic, relationships that concern you, that make you uncomfortable. If we can find a way to reframe, and I'm really thinking about our minds, that we take mental, actions in our minds, we make decisions to have those relationships, to reframe them, to have them have less impact, negative impact on us one way or the other. It would be nice if we could restore and have, the other individual um, adjust as well, so that the relationship is smooth. But if that is not possible, we need to respond differently. We need to change the way that we respond, so we can stop talking about toxic this and the toxic that, and um, ruminate on that all day. We can, in fact, um, look at it from a different perspective. So the so-called toxicity is not internalized. It's not changing your mood. It's not spoiling your day, if you want to call it that way. It's not distracting you from being your best self. Those are important things. And of course, now the rekindling. So we have relationships with close. Usually, people talking about your spouse or significant other, but we can also extend that to include special relationships within your family or within your friends, where you're saying, hey, let us take an example. One example could be if you're a church, go and you have people that you see on a Sunday maybe, and you say hi, hi, and in those 5-10 minutes, it's a good connection. What if you were to build on that outside of that um, very limited uh, interaction? Yeah. And then, okay, so you might have a relationship with your spouse for many years, and the tendency is for the passion and whatever it is to go down. That doesn't have to be. Yeah, one way to go about it uh, uh, is to go rekindle, find things that we did before that was fun. Maybe places that you went to. Let's go back and revisit those places. So that's something that I think would make a difference, because those deep relationships have major impact on our lives. And so I'm just suggesting that as you plan for this year, also plan to um, rekindle relationships, those special relationships. And as you go along, maybe there are some things that you need to clean up. Yeah. You know that there's a situation where either perception, thank you, Beverly. Yeah. There may be a perception that you have, or the person has about you, and maybe you need to just come clean. Then say, hey, I know that this is an issue. Let's put it out on the table and discuss it, and to see how we can move past this, so that there's greater transparency. People can feel open. They don't feel as if there's a lack of trust, and therefore they have to be more careful what it is that they share, etc. So that's something that I would suggest that we look at. So there is a reconnect, the reframe, the rekindle. And I think that if we did that this year and future will be a lot brighter and a lot happier. I I want to well, let me do this first. In Jamaica there is a proverb that says, good friend better than pocket money. And you can see the logic behind it, because no matter how wealthy you are, if you don't have a good support network, um, you're not going to be as well off as someone who has either both or just the support network. The supporting network is more important than money in your pocket. That's the bottom line is. And so people need to understand the value of having solid relationships. And I'm just suggesting that this year, make a commitment, put it as part of your plan, put it as part of your goals for this year, that you're going to invest in developing reliable, healthy relationships. Put as much effort behind it as you're putting behind getting financial wealth. That's my suggestion. So money can go only so far, but your strong relationships have unlimited potential. I'm going to throw out a little challenge. Take action, right? So here's a little exercise. And I don't know, some of you might or might not do it. So you probably have either live or seen this recording. And we have link somewhere sometime. We don't remember where did I link with Trevor? Where did I link with Beverly? We don't remember. But yeah, why don't we do the reconnect thing? Putting a challenge to you, because you are hearing this now. So this is a take action time. Just send me a little email or WhatsApp. Yeah, send me WhatsApp at the bottom. Say, hey, Trevor. Well, this is where I am. I don't remember where I met. Maybe if you want to go that far, but this is where I am now. This is the work that I'm doing. This is where I am now, and this is the mail that I will open regularly. And here's my WhatsApp number. And I promise you that I will reconnect. I will reach back out to you. So it's an exercise. And part of it is how determined are we in the 2023 to do things that we think are useful. As against, yeah, that's a good idea, but we don't do anything about it. So send me WhatsApp. Hey, this is where I am. Or you can send me an email at info@successwithpeople.org. And I promise you I'll follow. What about the reframing? Oh my gosh, maybe I said something or did something. I don't know what it is that I did that caused you to kind of, I will listen to him, but I'm not going to really talk to Trevor. Just send me an email with, or a WhatsApp with just the topic, reframe. And I will try and fix it. I will reach out to you to say, oh, sorry, where did I go wrong? How can I fix it? It also works with the opposite, where you say, oh my gosh, that I promised to do this with Trevor, or I promised to link him and I have not. Well, reframe, and you take the action of sending something to me, and I will again respond. And of course, rekindling. If we are connected, but we can take it to a higher level, send me a WhatsApp message as well, saying, hey, this is where I am. Let's link up. And I know some of you that are on right now, have promised, we're going to talk, we're going to, let's make it happen. And maybe a lot of it is my fault, where I have not really responded and reached out. Let's make a difference today. All right. So that's a call for you to take action. To the WhatsApp, it's 765356677. Let's reconnect, let's reframe, and let's rekindle. All right. So a little bit again about me. Maybe you haven't meeting us for the first time. I'm with the Success with People Academy, which is really a division of InfoServe. The InfoServe group, we are SHRM recertification providers, which means that we can offer professional development credits for use with their SHRM CP or SCP recertification. In essence, it's a mark of assurance that our quality is of a certain standard. All right. And we basically are a technology driven company. We use technology to drive human capacity development. That's basically, we seek to improve performance with individuals, with their teams, and with the organizations. And we have some of our technology platforms, our Spike performance management platform deals with issues of compliance, deals with training. It incorporates a sophisticated competency framework, which allows you to be able to modify the competency framework to suit your organization. So it cascades all your values right down through core competencies, technical competencies, and management competencies. We do, in fact, coaching of teams and individuals. We have leadership development programs. We have a powerful sales capacity development assessment, because we have affiliates, franchise holders really, for Extended Disc and Things, and they have this powerful sales competence assessment, which actually deals with whether you're recruiting, whether you're developing your sales team. This is powerful. And there's also the Management 52 assessment that we do with leaders. And if you're hiring, the Extended Solutions deal with the whole question of trying to avoid bad hires. Bad hires are costly. And so that's one of the things that we suggest, is that this nominal investment in an assessment to prevent bad hires makes sense. So here we are. My brother Rowan has set it up. You can get more information at extendedsolutions.org and look at our productivity development solutions. All right. Promise that we're not going to be go much beyond the 30-35 minutes, so that when people come to these live class, they know that it's not a whole day, and we're not going to bore them to death, hopefully, so that we have to reframe. Just have a little simple exchange. Just send something as